How are you, man?
I'm good, bro. What's going on?
Not too much. Literally, well, let me turn my volume up real quick. There we go. Literally,
Yep.
this is what I was doing just now. Okay, here we go.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Literally, I was like, okay, you got the montage, and also we'll talk about it. But I've used the montage for several months, and then I was just looking at this joint too. Don't worry, boy. Don't worry, boys. I got you. It's like
Yeah,
thank God for saving
yep.
us from that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Smash Bros theme that saves everybody.
Hell yeah. Who's your?
That's funny.
Do you have a main or several mains in the game?
I do. Yeah, it depends on the game, but in Melee, it has to be Falco. It's definitely
Okay.
Falco.
All
How
right.
about you?
So I am by far the best at in Ultimate. That's like the one that I played countless
Me
hours that
too.
I'm not going to divulge how many hours,
Yeah.
but it's a lot of hours. But my
I love
main,
that.
bro, is Wii Fit Trainer. That is my main.
Really?
I'm
Really?
nasty with Wii Fit Trainer. I haven't played in a while actually, 'cause I got babies in the house. I got a 2 month old and I got a 2 year old. But yeah,
Oh,
that's my main.
congrats.
I'm obsessed with the play style, the soccer ball, like the whole nine.
So in Ultimate, I actually like me and my buddies. We play Ultimate as much as we can. Melee, we used to, we played growing up. So I don't even know how many hours in Melee. But
Sure.
with Ultimate, my guy was I was Zero Suit, and then I
Yeah.
switched to forgot who I was, but I started playing online, and I was just getting washed with Zero Suit, and
Okay.
I was like, man, like she's like too slow in this game. Like I can't like rock. So I had to switch to Joker.
Ah, joke. Okay. Damn, man.
So
Dude,
I'm a
just
Joker
talking
main.
about it right now is making me feel like I have like the itch. I need to get back, man. Like online, it's just so much fun. It's like that competitive itch, and yeah, man. All right, so this is good. This is like it's meant to be right here, you know?
Bro, we gotta play. We gotta play together. You got me
Absolutely,
excited now.
absolutely, bro. Yeah, yeah. Well, Nintendo doesn't make it easy with these like what 16-digit friend codes and whatnot. But yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's a pain in the butt.
we'll figure
It's
that
a
out.
nightmare.
Dude, how was your day today, man? What were you up to?
It was good, bro. I mean, this morning I was working on a lot of stuff for like my wedding set list, and just I have a bunch of gigs coming up over the summer. So I
Nice.
have acoustic gigs, and then I'm doing stuff with the band, which is Ready in 10, and we're a wedding band, and we play clubs on Long Island and all this stuff. So
Fire.
I'm filling in for my guitarist a couple of times, and then mainly we're just learning a bunch of new like keyboard parts and all that good stuff. So I've just been spending a lot of time doing that because we just got crazy amount of weddings and stuff over the summer. So it's a good problem to have. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
of
But that's
course.
what I'm up to. And then a couple of lessons today, and that's about it. How about you?
That's awesome. Yeah, my day was good. Well, yeah, my day was great. I went to let's see, I did like a regular work day. There's a place called Lifetime Fitness that I go to now. It's a gym you may have heard of. I don't know if they're in New York as well. They might be. Are they?
Yeah, they are
They are.
lifetime. Yep.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So I was there today. Like the outside section's open. So yeah, man, did some like what did I do? Some music live streaming, some work, play some basketball for a few hours. Usually it's like hit or miss depending on people who are there and stuff. So yeah, kind of a chill day, fun day, but also a little productive. So it was good, man. Yeah, for sure.
Nice, nice, good stuff.
Yeah,
Staying productive. That's
that's
actually
the name of the
that's funny
game.
that you mentioned the outdoor area at Lifetime because they have an outdoor area at the gym that I go to. It's pretty close to my house. It's not like a corporate gym or anything, but they have a nice back area,
Yeah,
and I'm out there like every single day. It's just the outdoor area. You can't beat it.
1,000%. I was just literally thinking of that today. I'm saying to myself like, pretty much, you're in New York, I'm in Jersey, so it's like we have to deal with the cold winters and sometimes cold falls and stuff too. So now that we're
Yeah, for
not in
sure.
that space, like any opportunity to do something in versus out, unless if it's like crazy hot out or something like that, maybe that's a little different.
Right,
But I'm
right.
like team outdoors, like just it just makes you feel different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Just gives you that extra energy. For me, at least, I
Yeah,
love being outside.
yeah,
Sometimes if I'm doing work and stuff in here, this is my studio. If I'm doing like video work or whatever, I'm like, man, I wish I was outside.
yeah,
You know
dude.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
totally, totally. I want
Yep.
to. I want to just. I'm gonna I have a couple questions I'm gonna ask you, but I just want to start by just saying like one of the reasons I reached out to you in particular is because like people like yourself who are so musically talented, and just so funny, like combining those things together for me are like okay, that's like that's my It's a space I want to start leaning into a little bit more in terms of like the comedy aspect, because I'm a extremely
Yeah.
funny person, even though a lot of people out there don't know that about me because I don't display as much of that, right? My wife knows it. Well, she doesn't think it's funny though, but I know I do funny things around her, but she just doesn't think it's funny. But other people would think it's funny if they saw. But yeah, so I would just like I just like love the content. Obviously, hit you up, so I appreciate you taking the time out. So we're gonna get into a lot of different things, but I want to start off and learn a little bit about who you were growing up. So what were you like as a little one, like adolescent ages?
Yeah, sure. It's a good question. So when I was younger, I'll start with like kind of my music stuff too, like when going really, really back.
Yep.
So when I was like, about 3, 4 years old, my great grandfather was still around, and his name was Henry Skirty. He was actually Brian Setzer of the Stray Cats. I don't know if you've ever heard of Brian Setzer, but he's like an old time. He's a rock and roll old time kind of rockabilly guy.
Okay.
And my great grandfather was his music teacher.
Oh,
So
wow.
the reason I bring that up is because as soon as he passed away, I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old. As soon as he passed away, I had this like weird thing that I needed to always be playing the piano. So I would always go to my grandma's house because she would babysit me, and I would always hop on the piano. So like as a kid, I was very musically interested and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then eventually when I was like, I think 6, like a year later, that, my parents signed me up for piano lessons, and I started doing piano lessons pretty much up until my teenage years, and then I started just getting my education from music, like in schools and stuff like that. And as a kid, I don't know, I guess like more on the personal side, I was pretty quiet and reserved like in my very early years. And then as I started getting into like high school, I kind of went through like my rebellious phase. I was always a good kid. I never did anything bad. I wasn't a bad kid, but I went through a little bit of a kind of like a change in personality where I started to like develop into myself, started to be a little bit more like, I don't know what the word is, like kind of Italian American. I was a little bit more loud.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Word.
And
Okay.
just kind of like, making a bunch of friends and like all that stuff. So I was always a good kid growing up. And I just always had a real interest in music. Like any chance I got, I was always playing whatever it was. Even in high school, like I was playing gigs, whether it was at the school or whether it was like someone's party or whatever it was. Like I was just always interested in guitar and piano, and that's just who I was. I kind of gave up sports for it too. I used to play lacrosse and baseball and all that
yeah.
stuff. And eventually, I was like, like I'm a musician. I'm not I'm not an athlete.
Yeah.
I was okay at it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a little bit about me.
Dude, love that. So, a couple things. So, first of all, you mentioned guitar a couple times. So, between the guitar and the piano, are one of them is primary?
I would say piano was probably primary, but funny enough, I kind of hid that talent for like a pretty, while up until high school, really, because I just wanted to be a guitar player. So when I was like 8 or 9, I picked up guitar, and because my buddy had this like white Ibanez, and he was playing Nirvana riffs on it. So I was like, hell yeah! I'm like, I want to play guitar. So I started playing guitar, and now everybody in my town and in the towns around me, they knew me as the guitar player. So it's like funny because like I'm really a piano player, but then everybody knew me as a guitar player,
Wow.
and now I'm a keyboard player and a bunch of different things. So it's really funny. Actually, another story too is I was playing a show in it was in Massapequa. It's over by me, and my friend's family came to see the performance. They came to hang out and everything, and then they get my friend gets a text, and it's her parents texting her like, "Where's John? Like I don't see him." And then she's like, "No, he's there, he's there." And they see me play the keyboard. They're like, "What the hell?" They're like, "Why are you on the keyboard?" And
Right,
I'm like, "Because
right.
I play keyboard."
Jeez, that's awesome. And I was literally, was it today? Yeah, I think it was today in the gym. Actually, I strike up a conversation with random people, and I was just explaining to him. I was telling him a little bit about what I do and stuff. I told him that like even though I play the piano and I play the keyboard, that's like easily, no questions asked, that's my primary instrument. I think the guitar, specifically the acoustic guitar, is the coolest instrument, arguably, or like the one that I'm most fascinated with in terms of like the fact that you can just learn how to play it. I'm going to simplify it, but you learn how to play it, learn how to carry a note, or play certain songs or whatever. If you're someone who can sing, you just like bring this thing. We were talking about being outside earlier. You bring this thing with you to like the park or the woods somewhere or the forest. I don't know, just being outside somewhere and just being able to play. And you can't really do that easily, of course, with the keyboard or anything like that. They do make certain, ways to be able to do it. So for me, that's like, it's not at the top of my list in terms of things to do this year, but it's towards the top of like, I have an acoustic guitar right over there. My daughter sees it. She wants to she starts like playing it and stuff like that a little bit. I definitely want to leverage my music theory knowledge and play by ear knowledge. And obviously the technique is not, I have no technique. I haven't learned yet, but that's something that I definitely want to spend some time learning for sure.
Yeah, definitely. The acoustic guitar is really its own thing, Like people, because I'm a guitar player, obviously, so people ask me like, "What do you prefer, acoustic or electric?" I'm like, honestly, they're really like two different things. Obviously, it's the same instrument and you play it exactly the same, but I don't play acoustic guitar nearly the same way I play my electric guitar. Like they produce different sounds. They're totally different things in my head.
Right, right.
So, yeah, I definitely feel that because you could take an acoustic guitar everywhere. And you don't need any setup for it. You could just go and just provide music like the instrument does it.
It's beautiful.
So I feel you. It is.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Yep. And so you were mentioning too, like I'm very fascinated with like I was having a lot of conversations today, evidently. I was talking to my brother earlier and like who's not in the creative / creator space. He's like into finance and economics and numbers, and he's an online poker player. He's very good at it actually. He's been doing it for damn near 20 years or something like that now. And not to put you, Dwayne, on blast, but sometimes he doesn't like saying it. Just kind of keep it, whatever. Obviously,
yeah.
It's not that many people. I mean, we'll see how many people check this episode out. But I was talking to him about just all the different ways we as creators nowadays, like different things that we do to cultivate our creations. Whether it's having Patreon fan support, whether it is giving lessons, like I know you mentioned, and I do as well. Making content, making YouTube videos, brand partnerships, et cetera, having shows, gigs, et cetera. And so from my perspective, like I'm very interested in kind of diving a little bit deeper into, like you've mentioned your lessons, you mentioned gigging, and then of course what I know about you prior to the conversation is like you leveraging this beautiful / awful thing of Instagram social media, right? Leveraging it in a way where you're able to create and share what you want to create. And I sent it to like several of my friends that were like that are Smash Brothers. They were like, yeah, that's good stuff right there. So my question to you is kind of like, out of like the different things that you do from a music perspective, like if you could kind of break down which of the three, like percentage based, like are any of them like your primary thing that you do, and then just kind of talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So gigging is definitely the primary thing that I do. I'm playing shows, at least, especially in the summer, every single weekend, and I love playing live. There's nothing like it. We'll play it like, obviously I don't want to sound like like I'm tooting my own horn or whatever, but I'm very lucky that I have the experience to play in some of the best clubs on Long Island. Like we're playing in Long Beach, we're playing at a bunch of these different clubs, and it's just like it's a blast, bro. Like it's so much fun. So I would say gigging is my primary thing, and recently social media has been taking a close secondary, and I'm just kind of filling in the spots with students that I feel like would be worthwhile. You know what I mean? Like I know that sounds a little whatever, but I used to teach at a school, and I would be doing 15, 20 lessons a day, and I got to a point where I was like, I kind of just want to work with people that are like really serious and that really want to grow. So
sure,
because it's more rewarding that way. So I would put it in a tier list. I would put it gigs, then social media, and then lessons like that.
That's
social
awesome,
media
man.
It's a lot of fun if you have fun with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Yeah. So social media. So I guess one thing that I'm very interested in is there are so many, like, let's take Reels on Instagram. That's where I've seen your content at, right? And then from there are different places that you could grow audiences with using presumably the same type of content. So like, but that to me is like, I still haven't figured that out. Like obviously, it's like simple. Just post it on all three, and that's fine. And reply to comments, whatever, that type of thing. But there's like a mental, thing that kind of happens, right? Sometimes if you post the same thing on all three platforms, like, dang, why did this do much better here and it didn't do as well there? Maybe I shouldn't even focus there or whatever. These are thoughts that I have sometimes. So like from your end, do you kind of like have your one social media platform that's like your primary, or do you kind of balance your audience, I guess, on different platforms?
Yeah, that's a good question. I do have a primary. I would say it's Instagram. Instagram is definitely my primary. It's where I'm putting most of my effort. And TikTok was something that I started, like, I don't know, like years ago, but I really started promoting stuff on TikTok like when I started making these videos. And I was just double posting, really. Like I was posting the same thing on Instagram and TikTok, and generally they would be about the same views, but Instagram was a little bit more. And I got to a point where my TikTok was at like 40 something thousand followers, my Instagram was at like 20,000 or something like that, and now my Instagram surpassed my TikTok. And so now I'm like, you know what, like Instagram, talking about the financial end of it, like Instagram actually pays a lot more, especially because TikTok with the 60-second thing doesn't really pan out with my type of videos. So I just have more of an interest in Instagram, but actually I'm trying to transition over to YouTube, because really that's actually what I want to do. Is I want to be a YouTube content creator.
Awesome.
And yeah, that's really like my main focus. And going forward, I got a bunch of cool stuff planned. I'm working with some really cool people to get some like really dope videos out. And I really just want to grow. I want to make it big on YouTube because I love it. Like I just think it's awesome.
That's so cool, and I'm glad you brought that up just now, because I know last week we had spoken a little bit about that, about your intentions, kind of building an audience on this platform where I've been now, I guess, 4 or so years, and I think YouTube is I think it's awesome in a lot of different ways. I think that it kind of offers so many different ways of making content that I guess you could say a lot of these other platforms kind of sort of have now as well. But when it comes to long form on YouTube, when it comes to live streaming, and then when it comes to short form, like they have the ability to like leverage all of that, which I think is incredible. And then like I guess there's a lot of different things that we can kind of talk about. So like one of them would be that on Instagram versus YouTube, YouTube has like this amazing legacy thing about it, right? That if you make some type of content now that is going to be watched in 5 years from now, and then you look at like the revenue that you've made from this video now that it's been released 5 years, you're like, damn, like this video it brought in this much money. That's mad dope, and it's probably going to continue doing that the more I make videos on YouTube, to kind of grow the channel and stuff. So I think it's a great idea, and not for anything, but just the stuff that I've seen, the smaller scope of what I've seen from you on Instagram, but then the stuff that you're talking about now, like talking about the stuff that you just shared, like how much fun you have playing these live shows. I'm one person, but I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there who are very intrigued with that, like who may not have had many opportunities to play live in person. Like I've done it maybe two to three times or something, like small scale things, and the times that I've done it, they were the best times of my life. Like it's like you described, it's just infectious, right? So for me, that is something I absolutely want to do more of. So being able to talk about that in a longer form video and just like share your experiences, that I'd watch, and I'm sure that that's something that would be valuable content.
Yeah, definitely. YouTube, I feel like gives you the opportunity to really like get people familiar with who you are as an actual person, and develop a relationship with them. And I think that's the part that I like about the most, because with Instagram, I know you mentioned about like the funny videos and stuff, and I try to make it like as comical as possible. And really I'm just having fun. That's just like actually like what I think would be funny. So I just go and I post it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So Instagram, but they give you such a little snippet of like who you actually are. And you get a taste of like my sense of humor, and you get a taste of my playing, and it kind of just bundles it all into one. But YouTube would really be a place for me to connect with people and really like give my full thoughts on things, and break down some of these like funny things that I do. Like sometimes it'll just be me sitting down and just playing the Pokemon theme and just being like, oh yeah, this is really cool, because and then people's attention span, because they know they're watching a long form video, they get to sink their teeth into it a little bit more. And that's just something that really excites me, because I would love to just build a community and build a relationship with an audience that way.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. The community aspect too, I didn't even mention, like like community tab on YouTube, which you may have seen or others may have seen as like a place
Yep.
to do just what you just described, like sharing posts, sharing thoughts, and not like obviously sharing those types of things on, for me at least, on Instagram are a little bit more like large scale, big scale. Like they're kind of like, okay, you have to be, in my opinion, like mindful of what you share, not over the top. But I guess what I'm saying is that on Instagram, when you share something specifically on your feed, it's like it's kind of there, it's prominently there until you post more things and then it goes lower. Whereas this is kind of just like it's just information that's just shared with people. People aren't like actively looking at your community tab. It's more so to build the community like you just described. And then the other thing that's kind of important, that's awesome, I think, that YouTube recently put out. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but on your YouTube channel, there is a opt-in thing that you can do to have a what's called a For You section. And what that means is if I have a For You section on my channel. So if you were to visit my channel versus say my mom visiting my channel, the For You section is going to have catered videos that I've made that it thinks you will be interested in. Exactly.
That is awesome.
For me, that's major, right? Because like, I'm a non-niche kind of guy. Like I have different things, different thoughts, different stuff that I want to kind of talk about. And for quite a while, like it was kind of like, man, am I alienated? I mean, not even that much of different stuff, but essentially having the freedom to be able to share what you want. Whether it's more family, intimate lifestyle stuff with the sprinkle music or the inverse of that, the algorithm, for better or for worse, is going to know that you'd prefer, I don't know, the funny video with music. My mom might prefer the interview or the vlog family stuff or whatever the case is. So they just seem to always be doing things to kind of make the platform better. And I'm definitely a major fan. So I'm excited to have you on there, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you. Yeah, YouTube it's just always been like a good place for me. I'm always on YouTube, you know what I mean? And actually I was running, before like my Instagram and all that stuff, I was running a YouTube channel, and they were a big channel. They had a couple 100,000 subscribers and stuff, and I was doing all their social media, and I was doing their videos and things like that. And I kind of got a real understanding on like how that stuff works, and kind of just how to grab people's attention too, but also like providing content that's like actually interesting, not like clickbaity, BS.
Yep.
So I always just found it to be just a great platform, a little bit more of like a authentic platform, because you could really like show your true self in its full form. So I love that about it, and I definitely see myself being a full-time, actually I kind of am already, but full-time creator like on YouTube, really not YouTube yet, but hopefully eventually,
Yeah, dude. Did you create? Do you have your channel created already?
I do.
Like,
yeah, it's not very big though.
Gotcha.
Really
So it is available now, but now you're in the process of like planning it out, like you just mentioned, like the type of content, type of videos that you're starting to.
Yeah,
exciting,
for
man.
sure.
That's definitely good.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. We'll see where it goes.
I think so. From a music standpoint, like when you mentioned going back, like when you were younger, taking lessons and stuff, did you do like more of I'm assuming so as a child, like more like traditional lessons, posture, technique, classical, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So my teacher was she was like kind of crazy, but she was a great teacher.
Yeah.
So when I would go to her house, she would really make sure like I was playing the things the right way. She would make sure my dynamics are on point. And like when I did NISMA, which is I don't know if you guys have it in Jersey. Do you guys have NISMA in Jersey?
I haven't heard of it. No, I'm curious.
Yeah, I guess not, because it's the New York State String Music Association. So it's when you have to learn a piece, and you get different levels. There's level like 1 through 6 for piano, and each level increases. Oh, sorry, hang on.
No worries.
There we go. Each level increases in difficulty based on, what piece you're playing and how many scales you're doing, et cetera, et cetera. And you go in and you perform a piece in front of a judge. So
Wow.
where I'm going with the story is my teacher made me do NISMA all the way through. I don't even know how many, did all the levels, and was practicing all these crazy classical pieces. And eventually I just, I didn't really want to play classical anymore. I was just kind of like, I did this for so many years now. I was like, I wanted to play rock and roll. I wanted to play four
Yeah.
power chords and like, rip
Yeah.
that in front of an audience. That's what I wanted to do.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
and
Dang,
Pokemon
man.
music, video game music.
Of course, yeah, stuff that makes you feel like right now. Yeah, I'm kind of in this really interesting space. So I also give lessons, and I was taking lessons recently with an awesome instructor. But I think around the time my son was born, I kind of took a step back from a lot of uh, other things I was doing just to kind of reset a little bit. So I have intentions to start back up with her. But the time that we took our break was I had just finished Claire de Lune, learning that piece, and
Beautiful.
it's amazing. It's one of the best songs. I'm obsessed with it, and
It's beautiful.
there's so many things to talk about it. But one thing that I just well, there's two things that I'll mention that I just think are so interesting. One of them is that the song, when I was listening to it prior to learning it, like right at the time when I started learning it, I'm listening to this song in the car, like just kind of immersing myself in it. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, how the heck am I ever going to be able to play this? Like, it's just too much happening. That's in my mind, right? I'm like,
There's
this,
big chords in that song and a bunch of yeah,
this,
yeah.
it's like impossible.
Crazy
Right?
arpeggios.
Right. And then you take it slowly but surely and you get it. And then, so now I'm at the place where I can, get through the entire song. Certain parts are, still working on and stuff like that. But I guess the point I was going to make is that I'm in this space now where with all the different things that I do, from this show, Chord Master Keys, to being a father, to, two kids, to my tutoring business, math, English, and piano lessons, to like YouTube content and like all these different things, I'm realizing that I am like part of like the thing that's like very important to me is the piano, which is like right over here. I have the Nord. I got the Nord Piano 5 over there.
Oh,
You can't really see
sick,
too
bro.
well, but
I want a
yeah.
Nord so bad.
Yo, oh man,
Bro.
it's the best. I mean, well, you have a montage though. We're gonna have to talk about that. The montage is amazing. You love that thing, don't you?
Yeah, the montage is a beast, bro. Like, it really is. I got it. Let me see if I could spin this just a little bit. This is my keyboard setup. So I got let me see. There we go. It's a little blurry, sorry. But I got my Montage 6 right up there. And
Yep.
then I got a Yamaha MX88 underneath it just for weighted keys. But the
Yeah.
Montage 6 is like my main sound engine. You know what I mean? Thing is
Of
definitely
course.
thing's a beast for sure.
That's
But,
fire. So wait,
something
you have
about
them
the
connected,
Nord.
of course, like via MIDI or USB or something, so you can control like that type of thing, right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I had the, let's see, I've tried so many different keyboards. I'm blessed that someone from this company called Zounds, which I'd be happy to even introduce you once you start your channel and stuff, like introduce you to this person. But basically they have this like a creator outreach program thing where they pick people and you could have gear for as long as you want, essentially. That's kind of like what the parameters are. So it's like amazing. I'm gonna have access to so much stuff now. It kind of got a little bit dangerous in the sense of having too many things that you're feeling, and it's no obligation from them. It's more so obligation that I'm just made up in my mind, but feeling obligated that I need to like carve out time to like learn how to use this or learn that. Obviously, getting a keyboard is different. A keyboard is just playing and just the sounds, but like getting the Roland SP404, this is the new one that I have, like a sampler. It's like, it's foreign. I have no idea what I'm doing. And do I feel, and this is kind of like my current thought process that I'm going to be talking about in some YouTube videos. Do I feel as though it's smart use of my time and like something that excites me to like spend time learning this piece of equipment that may or may not be in my, in my studio, like long term or whatever? Is that the type of channel that's important to me? The answer is like no. Like what I love doing right now from a music standpoint and talking about is I'm chord master, right? So I love playing chords, learning chords to songs, and like that magic that happens where you can play a song that you loved listening to for years and now you know the chords to it and then singing over it. Like that's my whole thing that I love doing. So figuring out how to package that in content that makes sense for people.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think the point I was going to make is just like prioritizing more time on specifically on the keyboard, whether that's practicing, whether that's just playing on it. There might be several days that go by where I don't touch the keyboard, and that's not because I don't want to, but because I don't have the discipline, and maybe I'm like focusing on going out of the house to do work or do creative stuff out of the house, and by the time I get back, it's kids time and all that stuff. So I'm figuring that out, but I think it's just important to kind of like acknowledge what's missing and kind of just make those small tweaks to kind of find the time that is, you have the opportunity 24 hours in a day. So that's kind of where I'm at, like mentally from that perspective.
Yeah, I think you actually mentioned a pretty good point about learning a whole new instrument or a whole new software, for instance, or whatever it is.
Yep.
If you're not really going to be using it long term. So I actually was just in a position where I was thinking about buying the Nord Stage 4, and which I totally don't need, but but I wanted it, and sure. I was at the point where I was like, I know how to work the montage so well. And now I just got this HX Stomp for my guitar, and I'm like learning how to use that. I'm like, do I really need a Nord right now? It's like the answer is no, I definitely don't. But I would like to get really, really good at it eventually. But I was like, I want to just really master what I have right now because it's really fantastic.
Yep.
And then eventually work my way to the Nord, because you have like such beautiful. Oh my God, the Nord is just.
The soundscapes
I was playing it at NAMM.
Crazy. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Dude, it was like the key bed. The key bed was amazing. It was like, I can't even put it into words. And like with the triple sensors on it, like it was the nicest keyboard I've ever played, hands down. So there is going to be a point where I get one, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stick with this for right now. I'll use the Yamaha MX-88 just to rock with my weighted keys if I need to do any other fancy stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
So do you see yourself like combining those two keyboards that you have there? I don't know, either selling them or like replacing them with the Nord, or do you see yourself like maybe using the Nord in replacement of the bottom Yamaha that you have there?
Using the Nord as a replacement for my MX-88 for sure,
Gotcha.
because the
Makes
Nord
sense.
just has incredible piano sounds, and it's got incredible, organ sounds, and it's got great. So it has like really good staple sounds, but my montage is like really good when it comes to like
stuff.
programming patches
Yeah.
and like ease of use. I could just click a button on the screen and it goes to my other
Yeah,
patch.
for
So it's
sure.
very easy to do that way. But the Nord, just amazing sound patches like right off the rip, and
Yeah.
it's easy because you can you have all the knobs right there if you need
Right
to tweak
there.
something.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll replace it with my bottom keyboard for sure.
That's dope. Yeah, I think that's what stood out to me on the Nord Piano 5. I mean, certainly like you said just now, the key bed is just so good on there. But then I think the other thing
So
is,
good.
as a piano player, because I've used like the Roland Phantom and the Montage and like even the Montage EX and stuff, and like these keyboards have so much stuff on there, as you just described, so many different soundscapes, and a lot of them are like more, I don't know, ambient, like slower attack type things, right? Especially when you get into like the synth section and stuff, and maybe a lot of them are not poly or like monotones and stuff like that. So for me, what was cool about this is that like pretty much no matter where I go on that knob to like any random preset, I'm like always fine. Like you just said, like the pianos, there's so many different sounding piano sounds on here that just make it's just such a delight to play. I don't know if I did a good job explaining it, but it's just so much fun to use. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
No, it really is. It's got such an incredible engine in it, and the playability coming from a classical pianist, like, 'cause I had a grand piano and I had uprights and I had everything like that. So going from my other keyboards, even just, let me back up for a second. I had a Yamaha Montage 8, which had the weighted keys on it.
Yep.
The key bed was not really anything to die for. So I was like, okay, let me just downsize, and I'm just going to get the Yamaha, the Montage 6. So
Right.
whatever. So where I was going with that story is the key bed wasn't amazing on it, and I really wasn't thrilled by a lot of the different key beds on even a couple of the other ones. The Phantom was I don't even remember how the Phantom was actually, but as soon as I touched the Nord, I was like, bro, like this feels like a piano. Like it feels like a piano.
Yeah.
And coming from me, that's what I trained on
Right.
my entire life. Like I need something like that, and
Yeah.
it connected with me and I connected with it. and I definitely, it's one of my dream keyboards. I definitely want to get it, but when the right time is, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned NAMM. Was it I guess the summer NAMM, or this past winter did you go to, or was it years ago?
It wasn't this winter that just passed. It was the winter before that, and then I went like just before COVID hit. So I went in what was it, 2020, whatever it was. But I went like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And then I went 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago. Or no, was it? I don't remember. It was whenever the Nord Stage 4 came out.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
just before it came out, because
Yeah.
they had a demoing at NAMM.
Gotcha.
So it might have been a year. It might have been a year and a half ago, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it.
What was your experience like going to like a show like that? Like, were you able to meet some like other creators that you follow and stuff, or things like that?
Oh yeah, dude. Actually, hold on. Let me show you something real quick.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let's see if I can get you to see this. I'll try to focus the camera on it. But
No doubt.
I got to see one of my favorite guitarists ever. Her name is Nita. You know Nita Strauss?
I can't say that I do. Is that her on the bottom left there?
Yeah, that's her right there, Nita Strauss. So she used to play with Alice Cooper, and she's just an incredible example of like a female guitarist that just shreds. Like
Wow.
she is like a true guitar player, you know, and she kind of I feel like she set a staple in the industry too, that like she started opening up the realm for like, you know, female guitarists to start shredding and doing all
Wow.
this cool shit. And now she plays at the Rams Stadium. I don't know what it's called, but she does her own act and stuff now. Like she's just freaking awesome. So I bumped into her,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my God, like it's so nice to meet you, you know. And her husband is the drummer, and
super
he's
dope.
fantastic.
Wow.
This was somebody that I was like super excited to meet, coming from a music nerd myself. This is Tomo Fujita, and
Okay.
he is the professor at Berklee College of Music.
Okay.
And he posts a lot of really cool, just a bunch of really cool like tutorials and stuff like all throughout social media. And also, he's kind of famous for being John Mayer's guitar teacher.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so
cool.
everybody knows Tomo as like John Mayer's guitar teacher, but
Wow.
really he taught a lot of really excellent top-notch musicians. And I just have so much respect for him. He actually commented on one of my videos once, which was like super crazy, because
Wow.
this is before I even met him.
Yep.
And so John Mayer is one of my favorite musicians, favorite guitarists. I just think he's amazing. He's got a great sound on stage, and he really knows how to play his guitar. And I remember they did a interview, like Tomo Fujita was talking about his whole experience like teaching John and everything, and he was kind of the person to be like, hey John, like, you know, you need to sing, because John Mayer came in and he's like, I want to be the greatest guitar player in the world, and Tomo was like, well, you probably can't because there's already the greatest guitarists in
Yeah.
the world. So
Right.
he's like, you need to sing. So he encouraged John to sing a little bit more, even though
Wow.
John was already singing. And then he ended up, I think he dropped out actually and just started going touring, and he was like world famous by the time he would have even graduated college. It's
Jeez.
crazy.
Yeah. What
So
a
it was-
story, huh?
Yeah, and I met a lot of cool people there. I met like Marty Music, you know, Marty Schwartz.
No, I don't. From where?
He does like guitar tutorials and stuff on YouTube.
Okay.
He's like one of the go-to guys that everybody learns. Who else? I saw, you know, I met Rick Beato, I met Rhett Shull. These are all YouTubers. And
Okay.
this other guy too, his name's Phil X on Instagram, and he plays now with Bon Jovi and
Oh,
Phil X and the Drills. So I met like so many cool people, and I was like, bro,
Yeah.
like this is, and they're all just like super cool and chill. Like,
right?
it's so nice
Yeah.
to meet you guys. It's amazing.
We're all here for the same thing, to like, yeah, learn about some new cool music stuff, have a good time, and network a little bit. Like that's dope, man.
Yeah,
you plan to go
definitely.
back?
Oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah?
definitely.
All right. Yeah.
I wasn't able to get there this past winter because I was busy building this, and this took up like 3 months of everything, 2.5 months just to get everything set up in my studio. So I didn't have time to go, unfortunately. But I would love to go again next year. It was so much fun.
Yeah, that's that, and Super Booth, which is in Berlin, which is a harder, I mean, more challenging to get to, obviously, with like where it's located. But those are two places that I'm like working. Already spoke to my wife and stuff. Like we have no intentions of like having another child or anything like that. We have the two. We're good. We're set. By that point, they'll be a little bit more manageable. Right now, it's like still kind of like lockdown mode essentially. But those are like, yeah, I definitely wanna make it out there. I think it'll just be an awesome time.
And congratulations, by the way. You said you have a 6-month-old, right? Is that what you said?
Yes,
And
we have a 2 year and a 2 month actually. 2 month, yeah.
oh,
So
2 month. Okay, 2 year
Yep.
and a 2 month. Cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, dude. I was
Congrats.
able to say for like, let's see, they were both born in April. So I was able to say for about 8 days, because they're 8 days apart, that I have two under two. It just rolls off the tongue. And people like look at you like, how are you surviving? I'm like, you know what? We're getting there, we're getting there slowly but surely. But I think we're
It's
in a
nice to
really
be
cool.
close in age too.
It is, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, we're in a good spot right now. I think the last 2 months have been very intense, for different reasons. But I think now that things are starting to kind of fall into place a little bit with routines and just understanding me and my wife, like our roles and everything like that, it's going well, and not for anything, but from the perspective of like not having to really ever worry about things financially. Like I was kind of blessed. I had a good job at a college. I graduated with engineering degree, so I like worked in corporate for several years before becoming a math teacher, and then I started my business and content and stuff. And so like things were, we were able to do what we wanted when it was just us two. But now with the two kids and daycare and bottles and formula and diapers and these things, it's making me really in a great way, I must say. It's making me like sit down and like lock in and like make things happen. So for example, from the tutoring business perspective, like I've always been more than happy to get the occasional referral, like kind of just let it kind of happen organically. Now I'm still, now I'm just putting the business hat on a little bit more, like in understanding
Sure, yeah.
that there's like if I want to find a new client today or tomorrow, like if I want to do that, like let that be the goal for the rest of the day. Like I'm gonna do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna post on some Facebook groups. I'm gonna reach out to some old clients and this and that in a just check-in type way. And I'm seeing the fruits of that labor more often than not. Oh wow, so great to hear from you. Like life has been busy, but now's a great time. Like that type of thing happens. You were on my
Awesome,
mind to reach
awesome.
out. So it's good. It's for a different purpose now. It's not because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's for them. It's for them, and it's really a cool thing.
That's amazing, dude. I'm happy to hear that because sometimes pressure makes you focus a little bit more. When things are comfortable, sometimes you're not as inclined to get things done, and I think everybody kind of falls victim to that. But
Yeah.
once you get a little bit more of that, oh shit, like I really got to focus, then you
Yep.
do.
Yep.
So I think that's a great thing, and I honestly hope that you have as much success as you could ever dream of with your YouTube account and with everything
you,
that you want
man.
to do. Because you know,
I definitely
that's
appreciate
it.
that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that, man. What are your thoughts about Patreon?
I don't know much about Patreon, to be honest with
Okay.
you.
Mm-hmm.
I know a surface level. I know that it's just like a subscription thing where you can get access to like premium content, and you can like. I know this other guy that I made friends with actually in NAMM. He was posting stuff on Patreon, like as far as different lessons and things like that.
Right.
And I think it's great. I think it's a great way to support creators. If they're willing to
Right.
do that. And if it's content that you want, then sure.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess on the devil's advocate side, I guess, I would say I would just prefer to put the content out, I think, on YouTube or like something instead. I don't know if I personally would feel super comfortable like putting exclusive content somewhere else. Not that it's a bad thing at all. I just feel like if I'm just making content, I feel like I'm just going to put it out
You want more people to
publicly
see
anyway.
it.
Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I'll change my mind about it because I do think it's great.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there's so many platforms out there. There's so many different ways to go with stuff. Like even like Patreon, for example, everything that you just described is kind of like it's what it's about, like what it's there for and stuff. And then okay, but on the other side of the fence, YouTube has memberships, of course, which
Right.
people can, if they want to, they could support your channel, and you could have members only live streams or whatever, like right within the app, members only videos, etc., as opposed to sending them to another app. So the only thing it like for me, like in my mind, like I think Patreon's great. Is really really good as long as you, like you just described, if you're comfortable with the parameters with it and you are willing to put the work in to get people to check out this platform that maybe they never heard about, like your parents or whoever, or whatever, that type of thing. So it's definitely great. But I think the thing that's kind of like interesting back and forth is like Patreon, the payout or the percentage that you get is like super high. I think 80 or 90% or something like that of like the money.
Oh yeah,
Right. Whereas
well, that's
YouTube
nice.
is you
It's
get
like
70%.
70-30, I think.
That's right.
Yeah, we
So
did a
it's
membership on the other channel that I was running, and it was like 70.
yeah. So it's kind of a you get the baked in or built in sort of approach, and you get a smaller percent. So I don't know. It's like it's a thing to be very thoughtful about for sure. Like, does it make sense to be on both? Does it make sense to be on one? Like, what's going to be the strategy? But what's cool is that there's like so much out there. There's so many, for better or for worse, different ways that you can kind of handle figuring out what makes sense for the type of content you make. And I love what you just said too about like you're putting this time into the content. It's almost like, say if you had a Patreon, you started it, and it's like, I don't know, 20 people or like that's a good number, 20, 30, whatever. But then it's like, man, like this is quality. Like you want more people to see it. So it kind of almost feels like it's defeating the purpose a little bit of being a creator. You're making stuff for people to consume, right?
Yeah. So I feel like, if you're making content, I guess it could really swing both ways, because I see how it could be super beneficial. And I love you said the payout system is even nicer. I think that that's great, because I feel like the creators, if they're going on the platform, they should get paid what they get paid. If it's 80-90%, that's great, because they're making all of the content anyway.
Sure.
But it's, a little cut out to the platform, of course. I understand. And I guess it would be really good, let's say, like if you have a big audience and you're targeting, you're saying, hey, like this is specifically, if you specifically want to learn how to play like, blues and jazz licks over this type of stuff or whatever, like very niche and very specific stuff that probably wouldn't do well on your public platforms.
Gotcha.
I feel like it would make a lot of sense to do that. And I feel like once I get to that point where I have to start separating stuff, maybe I'll revisit, maybe I'll think about that for sure. Because I could see it's obviously a platform for a reason, what I mean?
Exactly.
But
100%.
there's always like a caveat or whatever, if that's the right word. There's always a devil's advocate to stuff. It's like, should I be posting it publicly, or should I actually niche it down and get paid for it if they want to support? So it's good both ways. I don't know.
No, for sure. That definitely makes sense. And so let me ask you some rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
Fun. I think they're fun. Fun rapid fire questions. Okay.
Let's get it.
First one is going to be, name a place that you visited that you loved.
Romania.
Wow. How long ago did you go there, and what did you love about it?
I went there about 2 years ago.
Nice.
And I was dating this girl at the time, and her whole family is Romanian. So when I went to Romania, I went, it wasn't a touristy spot, it wasn't anything like that, but it was such a culturally dense place, and everybody was so nice, and all of the food and drinks were like inexpensive. Like I went and I brought their whole family out to dinner once, and there was like 6-7 people. We got appetizers, drinks, this and that, everything, and like high quality food, delicious. The entire bill costed me like $70 for like 7 people, 8 people.
Right,
so I was
coming
like, this
from
is
New
awesome.
York.
Yeah, I know. Like
Jeez.
one meal would be $70.
Right.
But it was just such a beautiful place, bro, and like there's something about it. I don't know. Like I've been to Italy. I've been to a couple of, I've been to Switzerland. Switzerland was also gorgeous.
Okay. I haven't been, but I heard that's amazing too.
Beautiful. It was amazing. But Romania was a very like culturally, I was placed in their culture.
Yeah.
And it's not, no one's going to CBU. CBU's in Romania. No one's going to CBU as a tourist location. So it's like you're going there, and like I'm going to her grandma's house. I'm going to this friend's house, and like I really got to see like how they live. So it was such a cool experience.
Dude, that is incredible. I love asking that question, man, because the world is just vast. There's so much out there, and every time I ask that, I'm always like, okay, like we love traveling. We're my wife and I have been to, it definitely is our both favorite place that we've been to. We went to Greece. We went to Athens and Santorini for our honeymoon, for our 1 year like delayed honeymoon, and very similar to the way that you just described, like having a chance to, we stayed in 2 hotels. Like the first one was like in a village, like in where people lived and stuff that were there, which was amazing. And the second one was more like touristy, kind of like luxury type thing. So we got the best of both worlds. but just having a chance to hear from people and see them light up talking about, like, in your circumstance, like you just said, like, I mean, I was surprised. Romania, I was like, wow, like no one said that to me before. I don't think I've met
Yeah.
anyone, you know. But the idea
Yeah.
of like of knowing someone who's from there, and yeah, being able to immerse yourself is incredible.
It was so cool, bro. It was such a cool experience.
That's
You know?
awesome, man. Very cool. So next question would be, name a TV show and a movie that you love.
SpongeBob TV show. SpongeBob.
Nice. I got to pull up
SpongeBob's
the reel.
perfect.
It's on here somewhere. I watched that earlier today too. Nice.
Oh my god, I love SpongeBob. I'm such a nerd. Movie that I like the movie The Arrival. Arrival was really good. It was interesting.
I think tell me a little bit more about this.
It was the movie. I forgot the actress's name, but basically
Yeah.
there was like an alien spaceship that like they plopped down in like 7 different places on Earth, and like people were trying to figure out what it was, and they were getting nervous. So like the whole like human race was thinking about like going to war with these aliens, but in reality like the aliens were actually trying to communicate with us. And eventually at the end of it, it was like this whole like weird storyline where
Wow.
they communicated like differently than we did as humans, and which like frightened us, but in reality they were actually good. And somebody who was like a professional translator got in there and like basically cracked the code, and then
Wow.
and yeah, it was a whole, it was
That's
just it was
really
so
cool.
crazy because I'm like super into like space nerdy stuff, and
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And that
like
made you
sci-fi
feel. Well, let me ask this: space nerdy stuff. Black Mirror. Do you watch that show? I'm sure you do.
I have.
Maybe you have
I've seen the first few seasons, but
So you
I
may
don't know
need to
about the
check.
new stuff.
Okay, so you may need to. Maybe I'll hit you up offline on it, but I'll share it right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a episode in the latest season that has to do with space. Do you know? I forgot his name, but from Breaking Bad, the young guy from Breaking Bad. I don't know if you know the show.
No, not sure.
I forgot his name.
Not sure.
He's. I guess. I mean, I was gonna say he's a famous actor, but I guess he ain't that famous. No, just kidding. But no, he's he's in it. But I think you would enjoy it because it has to do with space, but it's extremely good. So I'll remember to send it to you. The name of the episodes. You can check that out tonight because I'm gonna
Dope.
quiz you on it tomorrow. Cool.
I love Black Mirror, so send it over.
It's so good. It's so good. So SpongeBob. All right, dope. SpongeBob and The Arrival. Amy Adams. That's what we're talking about, right? Amy Adams.
I think that's her.
It just
Let me,
it just popped into my head because I must have seen like the poster for it.
Yep.
That's her, right?
That's with Amy Adams.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
She's
okay, I
awesome.
definitely know that. She's very good.
Yep.
All right, now last question I'm gonna ask you. It can be, still figuring out how to best format it. I kind of let my guests figure out what's best for them. But the premise of the question is, if you have a chance to have a dinner with anyone, who would you like to have it with? That's the premise. But the other side of it is like, would you rather answer that question, anyone spanning like the history of time, or would you rather answer any living person? I'll let you decide.
Oh, that's a great question. Let me think about that for like a couple seconds.
For sure. Yeah, take your time.
I would say it would. Well, first off, if I had to meet somebody, I would love to meet John Mayer, just because I think he's just such a dope guitar player. But if I had to meet somebody that I think would be like interesting as far as a historical sense, probably Chet Atkins. I feel like Chet Atkins would be dope because I went to Nashville and I saw a bunch of stuff that Chet Atkins did, and he was just a great session player, and he has a lot of cool history about him, and all this stuff. And he like sculpted a lot of guitar playing today, and so
Nice.
I feel like it would be dope to have a conversation with him. Like, would be sick to pull him and like place him in our time period and be like, hey, like check this out, like this kind of like derived from you in a way.
Right.
I don't know, that'd be dope. Who would you pick?
Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, if it was anyone living and spanning history of time, it has to be like a Debussy or Mozart kind of guy, I think. One of these classical, one of these, because the question I have like is, while you were writing this masterpiece that I'm at the time that it was written, I don't know if they were. I mean, Mozart obviously, I think Debussy's stuff was like impressionistic, right? So it was like very different than what was created around that time. So like, I don't know if people got it then, right? It was like he wrote this amazing masterpiece, and I imagine that after he shared it with people, like it wasn't like universal acclaim, like this is the best thing, this is going to be played hundreds of years from now. but that's exactly what's happening now. So like for me, it would be so cool to like have that conversation. Like, what were you thinking when you decided to put that grace note there? Because I love that grace note on the second page on measure 91 or
Yeah.
whatever. It changed, you know, like that type of stuff. I can nerd out about for days.
Oh man, I want to actually dive into that because I think that's such an interesting point. Um, Nowadays we have a lot of amazing composers and we have such talented musicians, and arguably I'm going to stand firmly on this. I think arguably the skill gap is has even increased now. I think people technically are better players now just because we've had all this development.
Wow. Okay.
But back then, if you're talking about somebody from a compositional standpoint and somebody that's really sat and mastered their instrument with no distractions, there was no social media, there was no internet, you're sitting there and your job is to master the piano or master songwriting. These
Right.
guys, there was nothing else like it before them. They actually changed the way that music is written. Like
Yeah.
so Beethoven, I forgot what it was. You ever heard the Waldstein song? Oh, what is it? Waldstein, something like that.
Maybe. I don't know if by name.
If you listen to it, I'll try to send it to you afterwards. Waldstein,
Yeah.
it was this amazing compositional piece that was a piano piece, but Beethoven wrote it as like with a whole orchestra in mind. So as you're playing the piece on the piano, you hear like the pulsatingness of like the low strings, you hear like the flute parts, you hear like this or whatever it was that
Yeah.
they, you know what I mean? They hear
Yeah.
all these different instruments, and it's all in this one piano piece, and you could hear he's not playing piano, like he's like it's music.
Yeah.
Like this entire piece is perfection from start to finish. I got to send
Yeah.
it to you because like you would absolutely eat it
Oh
up. It's
man.
amazing.
Please.
But yeah,
Please do. Yeah. Yeah.
they started out from nothing and they came up with all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they invented it.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. It is. It's fascinating. I think, and we'll kind of leave with this, and maybe we'll do. I would love to do another one of these. Maybe at some point when you're like, when you have your channel, a couple of videos, something like that. Maybe we do. We're one state away from each other, so I definitely want to like make more use of how close I am to the city because I don't go out there
Yeah, yeah.
as often as I probably would like to. So we can talk about that. But like I feel as though talking to people like yourself who's very like insightful and like mindful, like and well, like you're able to express thoughts in a way that I can tell like you think sophisticatedly, for lack of a better word. And so I'm very fascinated and interested about conversations that were had decades ago, before the internet was a thing, like several decades ago, before the internet was a thing. There were probably, when there was chatter about it, there was chatter about this thing that's coming out, and there were people like me and you that were sitting, I was gonna say at a coffee shop. I don't think coffee shops were really a thing at that time, but they were sitting somewhere, maybe at a library or something at Princeton, and they were just sitting there having a conversation about, man, when there's gonna be this technology that lets us do this, build these things called websites and communicate with people across the world and X, Y, and Z. And so like, and that stuff happened, and now we see what the world is now. So like for me, for better or for worse, so for me, the thing that's like fascinating is AI, Web3, all this stuff that people are talking about, stuff that's usable. Like, hey, I need to, after this video is done, I'm gonna need to summarize the whole thing and take the transcript of our whole conversation, turn it into a YouTube description, and then a title that people are going to click, like that type of stuff. Like I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I love that, right? So like for me, I'm just very like just fascinated with, and I feel like a sense of like a little sense of like urgency, I guess, from my end. Like I have a lot of information about this stuff, not so much on the technical side yet. I'm still like studying some of this, but like on the human side, on the side of me talking to my mom, driving 4 hours to upstate or to Long Island to take her sister to a doctor's appointment, and saying, Mom, you've been doing a lot of traveling on the weekends. You love going out. You love figuring different things to do and stuff like that. I was like, what if I told you that there's something that could take away from, or something that will make it so you don't have to sit on the computer on a Thursday night and like research what's happening week after week. There's things out there that could find out in a sophisticated way, like, oh, these are 4 things happening on Saturday, this Saturday, 4 things on Sunday, like take your pick kind of thing, like schedule out like all these different activities. So for me, she's like, oh, that sounds incredible. Like I don't like sitting in front of the company. I just want to be told to like go check this thing out, go check that out. So like that's one of a billion use cases that I just find interesting, and I feel like a sense of like purpose to inform in a human way how people like us, as well as people like our parents and stuff, right, different generation, could like leverage this stuff. And so that's kind of what I'm part of what I'm working on, like from a newsletter perspective, and kind of figuring out how to package this in a way that people will find valuable.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, the AI thing is pretty interesting, right? Like, there's a lot of really cool uses for it already. Um, yeah, I think it could definitely be something really, really awesome. And it's helped us out. It's helped me out with certain YouTube videos that I was doing with the company that I was working with as well.
Yeah.
Just as far as even like consolidating thoughts or just like doing certain things, like use it as an aid to like help you out. So it was really interesting, honestly,
Yeah.
and it helped me out a lot. And there's it just keeps getting plugged into these different things. Talking
Yeah.
about video games, I know we gotta wrap it up in a few minutes, but I want to just
Yeah.
mention one thing too.
Please.
The funniest use case that I've ever seen with AI was somebody took Skyrim. You ever hear of Skyrim?
Of course.
Yeah, so someone took Skyrim and they added a mod in it that was ChatGPT. So it's like it'll actually pick up your voice. It'll use the microphone to pick up your voice, and it'll
Really?
translate what it's saying or whatever. And then you can speak to the characters in AI, and they'll
Oh,
like
that's crazy.
it's wild, bro. Like they'll be sarcastic, or some of them will crack jokes at you,
Whoa.
or some of them will be very serious, and
Yeah,
it's so bizarre, bro. And I was like, this is
Damn.
insane. Like
That's
this is so cool.
Wait, let me make sure I grasped it correctly. So you're saying that like the mod allows you like has an input that's not just a control, but like a voice input or something that you're
Yep.
talking while you're playing, and it like and the characters will like. That's crazy. Yeah. See,
Yeah,
that's,
bro, it's insane.
that
It's
is.
insane.
I mean,
the video
that's
game nerd in me.
yeah. That's not a thing right now. From a game perspective, like it could be
Right.
as sophisticated and as crazy graphics and crazy like The Last of Us is like one of my favorite games, like part one and part two.
Nice.
But yeah, there's no input into the game to control what's happening. Like if you're like that, I didn't even think I had never even thought about that. That's pretty fascinating. That it's
Yeah,
people are doing that right now.
it's insane.
Crazy. Dude, this was an epic conversation. I appreciate your time. I'm excited to, I'm actually not excited to edit it, but I'm excited to finish editing it and getting this out to people. I hate editing. I don't like editing. I'm gonna
me
pay
either.
someone to do that. You know, these are goals that we have, right? Eventually we'll get to that point. But yes, I appreciate you, man. And yeah, keep doing your thing. And I'm excited, so excited to see the stuff that you do on YouTube. I can just tell that you're going to do great on the platform. If you ever have any questions or anything on the platform, I'm not an expert, but I do have a lot of experience, and I do have, you know what? I'm an expert. I'm nearing
There you
10,000
go.
subscribers. I just told my wife
Confidence.
upstairs, I said, like, when I get to 10,000 subscribers on my channel, I'll share more about it afterward, like soonish. But I'm thinking of a way to elegantly connect my passion for music and all the creative things I do with my tutoring business, and I see a way to connect the two, and I want to like launch that when I reach that milestone. That will have a direct impact. The more subscribers that I get, or the more something that happens, whatever my main quota thing is, but the more of those that I get, I'm gonna be able to offer free lessons to students. So people who are supporting me here will be supporting kids who. So yeah, I'm figuring it out, but I'm very, very like motivated and excited. I finally figured out like a connection between the two. Now it's just a matter of like
Awesome.
making it actually happen.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that. I mean, it seems like you know what you're doing.
Appreciate
You
it,
already
man.
got almost 10,000 subscribers, so just keep growing, dude. Just keep doing your thing, bro. I
Appreciate
hope it
it,
works
bro.
out great.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
It was
All right, my
great
man.
to talk to you, man. It was really fun. It was a
I'm
good
glad.
time.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. It's like conversations like this. It kind of just reminds me to continue doing this. When I don't know if it needs to be every week. Maybe it does, because there's so many people probably like there's so many conversations like this to be had. I truly enjoy it. I know my guests do, from feedback that they provide. So this is also a thing that I want to kind of continue building and cultivating. So thanks again for your time, bro.
No problem. Thank you, bro. I'll
All
talk to you
right.
soon.
Yes, sir.